All right. Sorry, guys. I had to. I didn't want to start late, so I just had to complete a few things, and I didn't want you to wait in silence while I was finishing them. So that was the reason for the music. Like right there in the beginning, I had to complete a few more last-minute steps, and I got them done. So we're good. All right. Now, what we are actually going to do today. Now, we're not going to do what I was wanting to do, which was Helldivers with a bunch of my buddies, because there is going to be actually two members that are not going to be there, one due to a job and one due to a time constraint. And I always have backup plans. And what I always seem to like to do is to go to the annals of the internet to find just like bottom of the barrel consoles that like just stuff that had like big promise that just failed. Like I did the Ouya already, and I don't know if I've done the Hyperscan yet, but I might if I haven't. But that's going to be a whole nother video. This video is going to be the Google Stadia. Yes, the infamous Google name attached to any product is basically dooming it to a life of inadequacy and dooming it to die. Because everything they make, Google Glass, Google Car, Google anything and they kill it. If it's not Chrome, they kill it. If it's not the search engine, it's gone. It doesn't exist because they suck at basically everything. And that did not change when they tried to make their entrance into the game market. That it just didn't work. They're bad. They're very bad they're bad at promoting. They're bad at that like hitting their sales. They're bad at just everything about what they did. Everything was just an abject failure. And we're going to see why it failed in a two-part video. So, this is video 1, the first Rerez video.
Stadia makes it easy to play your favorite games on any screen in your life.
Stadia!
I've been around the block more than once, and I've personally witnessed the rise of titans. Consoles that started from nothing and rose to fame and legend. But I've also seen the failures. It all begins...
Oh god, the Atari Jaguar. Oh my god, that was so bad. Like, okay, anything like the Atari Lynx, the Atari Jaguar. I think there was also what was it? I think it was like the 2600 that they tried that they had to bring things back on the 5600. I don't know. There's been a long history of things that just sucked with Atari. So let's not start with Atari right now because we're on Google Stadia. Let's put the hate where it actually belongs today.
On launch day, a console's birth into the world.
Oh,
that is its introduction to gamers, but it also is the most important day in a console's life. Companies plan this one single day for months, even years. So many moving pieces have to fall into place just so.
I'm going to say right now, everything peaked at like the PlayStation 4, Xbox One era. Graphics peaked. The only thing that didn't peak was FPS. FPS hadn't quite caught up to 90 to 120 frames. That came later. But everything past the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One launch and Xbox Series S launch is just garbage. Unneeded, overpriced, overhyped garbage. Even the PlayStation 5 was overhyped, overpriced garbage. And I would know because I went to StockX to buy one for fucking $700. And not only was it completely missing the thermal compound, there's no evidence that it was ever there. I don't know how it ran as long as it did. Did they run out of the liquid metal coolant? Because I had to take that to a repair place to get that serviced. Now, luckily, they did give me quite the deal, $80 to special order liquid metal coolant. That was pretty nice of them. I love those guys. It's also the same place I brought my PC to. They did not find the same issues, and I'm still having the same issues today. I don't know what they I'm not going to throw any shade at them because they did do their best with the information I gave them. There's just no clear reason why this thing is crashing the way it is. And based on what they said and what I was pointing out, it's not an OS issue. There's something deeper going on inside that I need to figure out, which I will. Also, sorry this is taking a little while. I actually forgot to say something about this. The JBL speaker blowing up issue, that whole saga, that's still going on. Not the speaker smoking and blowing up. No, that's fine. That ended like days ago. It's in a baggie in my room right now because I didn't throw it away specifically because I thought they might have wanted that unit back for an investigation, figure out why it failed the way it did. So they're going to want that back, so I'm going to send that back. But they also provided me with the upgraded version, the JBL Flip. I had the JBL Flip 6. They're giving me the upgraded JBL Flip 7. So they are giving it to me for no charge. That's already on its way. Shout out to JBL. You guys did excellent with the issue that I presented to you, being that it is a rare issue for lithium-ion batteries to fail the way they did. Everything's all right. I didn't get hurt or anything. Nothing in my house is damaged. I got it out the window before it finally decided to completely fail and blow up. Thank God I was having insomnia that night, and I was up till 2 in the morning. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We're here to watch a failing console, not a failing Bluetooth speaker system. I just wanted to make sure you guys knew that JBL took care of me, and they are awesome with their customer service and their issue management department. Love it. Anyway, back to the console.
For the launch to go successfully. If they pull it off, it could mean years of profit and fame. But what if the pieces don't fall into place? Well, folks, as far as I can see, we just witnessed what I would consider to be the worst video game platform launch of all time. And today, my friends, we're going to be exploring that very launch. Gather around the campfire, folks. It's time to talk about the Google Stadia. A word of warning. Some of you might not think it's fair to compare Stadia against traditional video game console boxes. Unfortunately, though,
but they did themselves. Let me just tell you, I was around, like, I was in the gaming market the same time the Stadia was being presented, so I can comment on this issue being around for it. They claimed it. They claimed that their system was more powerful than the flagships. They made that claim. That was their fucking fault.
The folks at Google do not agree with you. In fact, they even encourage it.
Stadia is not constrained by the limitation of traditional console systems.
Instead of a console or a PC, you're using Google's data center as the platform.
10.7 teraflops is more powerful than the top 2 consoles.
And we know how PlayStation came back from that by releasing one of the most powerful gaming consoles to date with the PlayStation 5. But I'm not here to suck PlayStation's dick because I don't like them either. Because when I sent my console back to them for a repair, not only did they not even replace the compound that was missing due to what like the repair place said. They said it hadn't even been opened and cleaned because it was still dirty as hell. So PlayStation, you're not getting any slack either. I hate you too. That's also why I'm not buying why I decided not to buy your next overpriced console, and I chose to sink more money into a PC instead. Ha! So you lost a customer just by having shitty customer service.
Of the previous generation
But yeah,
combined.
So
that was
we've got to
impossible.
hold them to the standards that were set by current industry icons like Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft. What did they announce?
Wherever you are, Stadia lets you play the latest games.
The idea of a box sat beside your TV was gone. Now you'd be streaming through the power of the internet. Games would be streamed directly to you through a video signal at 4K 60 frames per second, while a big powerful Stadia computer somewhere far away did all the hard work.
At launch later
Excuse
this
me?
year, you'll be able to
How did they think that would work? This was still in the budding days of stream-based gaming, cloud-based gaming. They still don't even have that right today. What the fuck do you mean? They can't even get cloud gaming right to this day. I tried the cloud gaming out on the PS5 because I bought the Premium Plus to have access to the PlayStation 3 catalog, like the PlayStation 3 greatest hits, whatever. Um, I was I was trying to play Asura's Wrath because I love that game. Never got a revamp or a remaster, which I think is a travesty among all gaming. Is that masterpiece was not updated and remastered and brought onto the next systems, because then all I was left to do was cloud game, and I tried to play that over the cloud. Mind you, my internet speed with like 15 devices connected to it still pulls 600 megabytes a second. 550 on the low end. That's the low end. 650 megabytes a second could not get a stable gaming experience. They haven't fixed that to this day. These people are claiming 4K 60 frames a second. I can barely get 30. Liars!
play Stadia games on your TV, desktop, laptop, tablet, and on Pixel smartphones.
Are you getting this, folks? No expensive console was necessary. All you needed was a capable device like a phone, laptop, tablet, or whatever you had with a screen that could get this to work, and you'd be playing games faster than ever before.
Wherever you are, Stadia lets you play the latest games.
But then we got to see the controller. Controllers can be different and exciting. The form factor alone can define the identity of a console, like the GameCube controller, the PlayStation DualShock, and so many more. They could also demonstrate new features that could become unique to their new platform. Like the reveal of the Nintendo Wii's motion controls, they could show something revolutionary to help make the platform stand
Chef's
out.
kiss.
Huh. It's just a regular looking controller with really no new features at all, huh? Well, that's lame.
It looks
and if
boring.
power was what you were looking for, they showed off the specs, proclaiming it to be faster than all current consoles. Which, I'd hope your brand new platform is actually faster than a quarter-decade-old box sitting under my TV right now. Not much of a surprise there, but how does...
Right, it was weaker and it was newer. Yeah, those consoles, the PS4, Xbox One S, it was already 4 years old by the point the Stadia came out, and it was so much weaker when they claimed it was so much stronger, nearly double the power. I don't know how they thought they were going to get away with this lie, but it's probably the same lies they told about their other products that caused them to kill them off. I wonder why you're failing on everything, Google.
Does it actually play? Well, you see this dude right here? Well,
I use Grok for all of my questions now, by the way. I don't ask, like, I used to Google questions that I had about editing and stuff like that. I use Grok. He gives me far more stable answers, and I can talk to him like a human. So, yeah, better.
Well, he demoed it, showing how easy and fast it was to switch between displays. How well did it work? Well, the screens turned on, that much we could guarantee, but if you looked at his hands really closely while he was playing, you could tell that the inputs were being heavily delayed in certain instances. Boy, you'd really think they'd want to hide that, and I think they sorta did. We didn't see any long gameplay on stage, and everything was just pretty much very short, leading me to believe that maybe this system wasn't working as well as they hoped. Regardless though, the promise and vision they're trying to convey to you is that you'll be able to play Stadia on anything, anywhere you want.
Wherever you are, Stadia lets you play the latest games.
It would be fast, it would work, and there would be no headaches. We would hope. People, including myself, walked away from that whole GDC announcement incorrectly believing that Stadia would be a platform like Netflix.
And we all did. We all did. Like I said, this was cloud-based gaming. You have access to like an infinite, like limitless game library. Like, presumably. You would presumably have an access to like an infinite games market, and it would all be brought to you by the cloud for one low payment a month. That, fuck, you get what you pay for with technology.
Pay a set amount of money per month and have
Boom.
access to a whole bunch of content.
Boom.
And it would make sense too. Because
exactly what the fuck I said. And it should have worked like that. And it can. Just not the way they did it.
Because their service looked like the next step from something like PlayStation Now, a game streaming service on PlayStation 4. Pay one monthly fee and stream any game from the curated library. That selection combined with Stadia's implied power and flexibility seemed like it would be a pretty good deal. Well, that's not how it played out!
Nope.
After a long bout of silence, Google would dump a bunch of information about Stadia, including that in order to play Stadia on day one, you'd need what they called the Founders Edition. For 129 big ones, you would get a limited edition Stadia controller, a Chromecast Ultra, which you need to play on a TV, and a 3-month subscription to Stadia Pro. So that means this play anywhere on anything service at launch actually has a cost to it that requires you to have purchased physical hardware. So that makes this cloud-based, non-hardware reliant service actually a hardware-based console release. Imagine that.
Wherever you are, Stadia lets you play the latest games.
But back to what you get in that bundle, what is Stadia Pro? You might think it's a monthly price to get a whole library of games to play, right? Well, it's not.
No.
Stadia Pro is basically a monthly cost that is added on top that gives you a few free games every so often and grants you the ability to play Stadia in full quality.
Like PlayStation Plus. Except they give you monthly games, monthly free games. They're old games, but right now older games are what's hitting right now, for me at least. I like older games.
That's right, folks. Stadia can only be experienced at the promised 4K at 60 frames per second when you pay an additional fee up front each month. Well, that's a terrible ice cream sundae, but you want a cherry on top? How about this one?
Yes,
you
please.
Still have to pay full price for games, just like traditional old school video game consoles. That means if you buy a game and don't pay that extra cash per month, you won't actually be experiencing the game in the best way possible.
By eliminating that friction, that barrier to entry, we will make it simple and easy for players who want to try Stadia for the first time.
Sweet deal! So, to sum up what has happened so far, the announcement was confusing. Nobody really knew what to expect. Even when Google tried to explain things about Stadia, it got seemingly more confusing. What was
like, they did not do a good job at professionally promoting this product at all. Like, Ouya didn't have a good launch or even a good promotional history, but you know what? At least people had faith in that one. People took one look at the Stadia and heard the shit that they were pitching, and already they knew they were full of shit. They heard Google was tied to it, and it was like, yeah, this thing's gonna be dead in like less than a year.
pitched as an ultra-easy, affordable, and very powerful service, was likely not going to be that way at launch.
But could it get much worse?
Oh, it
Surprise! Stadia's long list of features wouldn't be available on day one. Want to play your new Stadia games in 4K? Well, you have to use the Chromecast Ultra on your TV. 4K for mobile
Physical
and
hardware.
PCs was delayed to 2020. Excited to use that newfangled Stadia controller wirelessly? Again,
Well,
only
no.
on TVs. If you want to use a Stadia controller anywhere else, it has to be plugged up through USB.
Which is why they're
You want to play
they're plugged
Stadia
up.
on your phone? Well, hopefully you bought a Pixel. You know, the phone that Google makes that not everyone on the planet owns. If you don't have a
Yeah,
Pixel,
that's also what I was about to say. It requires you to have their phone,
Stadia-
their phone specifically. Like you couldn't put this on like an Apple iPhone. You couldn't put this on a Samsung Galaxy. You couldn't put this on any kind of just the Google hardware. That why would you not make that available to everybody? That quarters your market. What the fuck? Like, even if you wanted, most people are not going to have a laptop with them. Most people are not going to have a tablet with them. What is somebody most likely to have with them? Their phone. So wouldn't it make sense to make your platform work against all hardwares, all phones? That seems like it would widen your markets, fuckheads. But they don't think about that. They don't think about this. They want to make more money. They want to make more sales. That's why they pitched it with their garbage phone. So many blatant dumbass moves for this stupid little box.
doesn't work on any other brand. Kinda getting limited here, aren't we?
Wherever you
Very.
are, Stadia lets you play the latest games.
So, through all of that mixed information flying around, there was doubt and uncertainty, excitement and fear, and I found myself
Of course.
paying for a Founders Pack.
I'm a founder.
Now, folks, I was on the fence for a while,
God.
but when a friend of mine wanted out from the upcoming train wreck, I happily bought his ticket and got his pre-order. So, I hopped on for a ride.
Mean, rip to you, but props to your friend. He got out of the nightmare before it happened. He's kind of smart. I like this dude. Who's your friend? I need to know who this absolute mad lad is.
And that leads us to the day of launch.
November 19th, 2019. Launch day.
So what
Launch day.
happened? Well, the launch day for many came and passed without their Founders Editions arriving. Yup, that's usually not how these things go, but hey, no worries. We should still be able to turn on Stadia and play it, cause it's in the cloud. You don't need all that funny
cloud.
hardware that they were mailing you, right? Well,
Yes,
no,
you do.
there was another problem that existed, and that problem was called the Stadia launch codes. Now, what could those be? Well, they're literal codes that Google would send you via email to activate and start your account. These didn't go out to everyone at the same time, and in some cases, they arrived days later. And by the way, even if you got your Founders Edition in the mail but you didn't get the activation codes, you couldn't actually play Google Stadia. Wild. As for myself, I was lucky. I got the code in the dead of night after the morning launch, spending my whole day waiting. As for the hardware, I got that a full day later.
November 20th, 2019.
So they couldn't make their delivery date either. That's par for the course. Solid, Google. Solid.
The day after launch day.
It's almost unheard of to miss your launch day in the big leagues of the console world, but missed it they did. But finally, after all this waiting, what was Stadia like? How did the platform play? Well, folks, this is where it gets really funny. I've personally experienced every possible problem you could have with a video game streaming service. Input lag measured into full-on seconds, making almost any game on the platform virtually uncontrollable. But don't take my word for it.
that would
Here
kill
is
me.
Gene Park from the Washington Post at their head offices demonstrating the input lag. Woo-wee! That's
Wow.
some instant action if you ask me!
Stadia is built on infrastructure that no one else has. More edge nodes mean the compute resources are closer to players, which results in better performance.
If the input lag didn't...
Well, you heard the human thumb. It's supposed to be faster. Supposed to be very reliable because it's closer to every player. That's what the human thumb said. You don't believe him? I can't imagine why.
Get you, maybe the random frame drops would. It happens suddenly and all over the place. You never quite know when it will crop up, but when it does, it sucks.
It's really bad.
Go!
Oh my god, that's so bad. I thought my video
Keep
was
this
lagging.
in mind. The game is still...
I legitimately thought my video was lagging that whole time. I was like, wait, why is my video buffering? What century are we in? No, that was the game being shit. Oh wow. Ooh. Pretty.
fully running somewhere else and it has no idea you missed that frame. So it just keeps on trucking as if you saw it. That's not good no matter what game you're playing. Now if the frame drops and input lag are fine, meet our next brutal adversary, resolution drops. Oh, I'm sure the game is still running fine over at Google HQ, but here in the real world land, I'm struggling. The video stream signal itself can run into issues where in order to keep working, the resolution lowers significantly. This makes everything look like a bunch of Legos. Just like frame drops, it's very sudden and you never know when it's gonna happen. I'm not gonna lie to you, I've never had a consistent experience with Stadia. I've played it on multiple devices from multiple locations and it's never once been reliable. I don't care what excuses anyone makes for this, but they don't work on me.
I can taste the pixels. Look at that. Look how
I've played it on multiple devices from multiple...
Oh! Why would you do this to your player base? This is suicide. This is suicide. What the fuck?
Locations, and it's never once been reliable. I don't care what excuses anyone makes for this, but they don't work on me. I've played every major video game console that has ever been released, including rare and obscure hardware that failed to grab traction. Nothing I've ever played that was new had issues like this. It's unheard of. And the big problem with that is you'll likely find at least a few people online who have not had any problems because maybe they've got the right connection. Maybe they're closer to the Stadia servers. Maybe they just have the exact right mix of everything to work. Who knows? But not being able to guarantee that it will work for everyone every single time? Inexcusable. Think I'm being unfair? Well, how about this as an example? If you bought a brand new Nintendo Switch and it only played games sometimes, and the other times it just didn't turn on, wouldn't you return it? Yeah, I thought so.
Wherever you are, Stadia lets you play the latest games.
But fine, let's just say it's my internet connection, the several that I've used. Let's say everything was working perfectly, and I mean perfectly. What do you have to look forward to? Well, in the instances that I did get a solid normal connection, yeah, it worked. But I don't think it's working as well as we were led to believe it would. Remember back on stage when they said,
Stadia is not constrained by the limitation of traditional console systems. 10.7.
It's constrained by being an enormous piece of shit and a giant lie. And how can you tell that these motherfuckers are lying? Because their mouths are moving. They're marketing.
Teraflops is more powerful than the top two consoles of the previous generation combined.
Yeah, that's
probably the power per server that they have that can connect to these devices. That doesn't translate well over a non-physical connection. I.e., you can't do this through magical beams through the sky. These things need hardwire connections. You can't do that. I don't know how they thought this was going to work. But it worked as well as I would have assumed it would have.
That makes me believe that Stadia is going to run things better than the current top systems. And my PC shouldn't even be a contender because let's face it, Supercomputer Blade versus a box in my living room, Supercomputer should win, but it doesn't.
Instead of a console or a PC, you're using Google's data center as the platform.
Stadia tends to run games at lower resolutions than I was led to believe. This was something I noticed right away when I started playing. Games simply didn't look that good. I'm talking obviously easy to see aliasing artifacts. That's the little jaggies you see all over the scene here. If I play similar games on Xbox One X or my PC, depending on what the game is, it will likely run at a much higher resolution on those platforms and look better while doing it. On Stadia, I might get a higher frame rate, but the resolution is definitely lower. Why not do a comparison? If I take this
you have to compromise somewhere, and they have to trade it off every once in a while, I guess. Maybe that's how they claim they could do 60 frames at 4K, because sometimes it might be 4K and sometimes it might be 60 frames a second, but they never said it had to be both together. See, that's how you cleverly market something and not technically tell a lie. You're just lying by omission, which is still a lie, but not as, you can't make as stable a case about that, I guess.
One scene from Destiny 2 and compare it back to back.
Otherwise, this would hella be false advertising.
With my PC, you can easily see that the details in this scene are lower on Stadia. See that tree in the back here? Yeah,
no.
On Stadia, it looks like a toothpick. Something just isn't adding up. And this is a difference I can notice in multiple games, with multiple examples. Now, why is this a problem? Well, Phil Harrison on Twitter, 1 month out before Stadia's launch, stated that all games at launch would support 4K.
Wherever you are, Stadia lets you play the latest games.
But you know what? I think what he means is that the video stream is running at 4K. Doesn't mean the game is. So what you're getting is a lower quality game being broadcast at a higher resolution. This was something that I noticed, but I wasn't alone. The folks at Digital Foundry, in my opinion, the community leaders of image quality analysis in video games, also noticed these problems and made it very clear in their videos that Stadia wasn't running games at the resolutions they were advertised to run at. And if all of that wasn't enough proof and you needed just a little bit more, how about this one? Bungie, the creators of Destiny 2 themselves, stated in an interview with The Verge that the game was running on Stadia at 1080p, not 4K, and at the PC equivalent of about medium settings. I don't know about you folks, but I'm starting to feel lied to. Look, maybe you've got an older platform or console running Destiny 2 or any other of these games, and Stadia may look better. It's very possible, but that's not what Stadia is supposed to be. This platform is meant to be a giant leap over modern systems, not a small one. And very soon, its competition is going to get more fierce with upcoming consoles like the Xbox Series X that may well be more powerful than what Stadia is currently demonstrating. So maybe power isn't what's going to make this thing work. But how about the ability of streaming games itself? Isn't Stadia at least the leader in that? Remember how we talked about PlayStation Now early on? Well, not only did they beat Stadia to market, but they also have a much more prolific library. 22 games on Stadia at launch, hundreds of games on PlayStation Now. And how can Stadia compete with that when they haven't even announced any first-party in-house built and designed games?
That's what Stadia is all about, the games.
I think it's pretty obvious to see that this whole event was a massive series of problems that built to what can only be looked at as a failure of a launch. Despite the many players out there who have fresh Stadia wounds, there are many others that had nothing but sunshine and rainbows. And there will likely be a core group of people who stand by Stadia moving forward, considering it to be the best option for playing a whole bunch of video games. And that's fine. Stadia depends on your internet connection being consistent and solid and fast enough to work all the time. There are only a privileged few who can claim such stability, and even with all the internet connections I have access to, that's still not a reality for me. If you think of Stadia like a light switch, and when you turn it on, it didn't always turn on the lights,
that would be annoying as fuck, by the way.
You wouldn't trust it, right? And I think that's what Stadia is. A light switch you can't trust. I can't give you an answer for the long-term success of Stadia. Will Stadia blaze a brave new trail into the gaming history books, or will it go the way of OnLive's cloud gaming service? What's OnLive, you ask? Exactly my point. But whatever the result, whatever the future holds, whatever might happen, whenever I think of Stadia, I'll always think of one thing: it having the worst console launch ever.
Ooh. That's bad. Ooh. I might watch that at some point. That looks like a new video. Anyway, I'm getting off track. We're gonna watch the second Stadia video that was released a year after this.
Happy birthday, Stadia! It's been 1 year, and you've gotten so much better and stable and...
No.
What? How is this still happening?
Stadia?
Stadia!
It was bad. It started bad. It was bad. It still is bad. And now it is discontinued and tossed onto the heap of other failed Google products. Let that sink in. So much more e-waste.
I can't believe we're gonna do this, but today we're making a sequel video.
Yo!
Not for a new product, no,
What's up, Jinx?
but for the exact same service we've already covered. We've never done this on the Worst Ever series for anything we've ever looked at, but Stadia deserves it. For those of you who...
We're taking a look at the Stadia. This is the second video about the Google Stadia. So that's what we're doing. We're doing that. I've already had my words about this.
missed our last video on the topic, in a nutshell, Stadia is a video game streaming platform from Google that works over the internet. Google's powerful servers run the game and stream the video feed to your TV, laptop, or phone.
And Stadia makes it easy to play your favorite games on any screen in your life.
Some of you may be wondering why I bothered to spend time explaining what Stadia is. Well, according to
Oh God, that was ass. Yeah, it was ass. And I know you're also old enough to remember this motherfucker coming out. I just told everybody that I remember this shit being promised.
Stadia themselves, you still don't know what they are.
If you want to know what Stadia is, you found the right video. Simply put, Stadia is a gaming service by Google.
That ad's simple, straightforward, and easy to understand. It's too bad that it came out a year after the damn thing launched. It's like putting up signs today to advertise the garage sale you had last weekend. If you'd advertised sooner, you probably would have sold that box of Skylanders, Phil. But Stadia has always been a bit of a disaster.
Oh my God, I remember Skylanders. Holy shit, that is a blast from the fucking past. Isn't that like 2015? I think I played Skylanders with my friend before. No, I totally did. I did play Skylanders. I remember because there was this one crystal dragon that I absolutely loved. It had crystal wings and I think crystal horns as well. I don't know. This motherfucker glowed when you sat it on the pad for the RFID reader. Oh my God. I forgot those things even existed. It's been so long. God, that was actually kind of fun though. It wasn't like other RFID based games. These were actually really, really fun.
Their launch last year was a waking nightmare. Delayed features, pre-orders didn't ship on time. When gamers did...
You hated Skylanders? Well, who cares what you think? I was talking about me.
Get their controller, they still couldn't access the service.
Here,
and when
Grandma.
they did access it, the game experience was, at best, a mixed bag. We covered the whole messy affair in a video that we branded the worst console launch ever. And you know what, folks? They still proudly hold that title.
Wherever you are, Stadia lets you play the latest games.
A disclaimer before we go any further, I don't hate cloud gaming. I think cloud gaming could become a powerful force in the future. But for now, we got problems. The biggest one...
We still have those problems. I don't know what he's talking about. We have problems. We still have problems right now with cloud gaming. It's not good. I don't know why people think it's going to be this like huge thing. Maybe, but as of right now, I think technology has peaked as much as it's going to for the time being. Give time for things to catch up. Then we can worry about the next thing. Fix the problems that we have on the stationary consoles, and then we can worry about cloud gaming.
Is that Stadia simply isn't fun to play. And for a video game service, that's a pretty big problem.
Yeah, the connection issue was horrendous. Yes, very much so. And that's the point. Whenever you go into cloud-based gaming, you have to go in with the assumption that you need to have a preem connection, like almost godlike connection to the internet. And God forbid you live out in the boonies somewhere where your connection is maybe iffy sometimes because you're not getting on this bitch. This is not for you. This was a privileged gaming console. I definitely wouldn't have been able to play this. I know that much because my internet speeds used to be 80 megabytes a second. That was good back in the day, but now it's like 600. I'm like, what the fuck was I dealing with 80 for? Cloud gaming is ass. There is always an error in the middle of call. Yes, always, always drop frames, input lag, the whole kit and caboodle.
Can't even get past the Stadia store without it brutally wasting your time. They list all the special editions and bundles of one game on individual lines, cluttering the list of games and doubling or tripling the time it takes for you to scroll to what you want. Why don't I just search for what I want and stop complaining, you ask? Because Stadia still doesn't have a search function.
Oh, wow.
That's right. Stadia by Google.
What? Wait a minute. Google's a search engine.
Famed internet.
And they didn't think to add a search function? Man, fuck that.
Search company where I can look up recipes for anchovy and pickle banana bread if I wanted to, doesn't have a search function for their video game streaming service. How? Maybe they're trying to secretly prevent you from buying games, the same way they might secretly be trying to prevent you from playing them. I've had so many issues just connecting the freaking Stadia controller. I don't know what is happening here, but every so often the simple act of connecting the physical Stadia controller to their service is buggy or simply doesn't want to cooperate. But the fun thing is, even after I got all that set up, I still had games made unplayable by frame drops and input lag.
Wherever you are, Stadia lets you play the latest games.
Wherever I am? Well, I'm at home with a super stable fiber internet connection, and Stadia don't let me play.
We're able to deliver this experience to users with a connection speed of around 35 megabits per second.
I had Hitman, a notoriously stable game that I've personally played for over 80 hours on competing platforms, just crash on me for no reason. Within the first 50 minutes of play on Stadia, I had the game actually crash. And no, that's not me pausing the game, that's what a Stadia game crash looks like. The game just freezes, forcing you to close Stadia and lose your spot in the game world. I've tried to play multiplayer games like Super Bomberman R Online and had to wait forever for enough players to join so we could simply start a game. And even when the game started, I'm pretty sure a lot of those players were just bots, or maybe they were real Stadia players and they don't know how to play Bomberman all that well, I don't know. But what I do know is that this waiting screen here was having connection issues. The waiting screen was having connection issues. Listen to how awful and broken this music is. That's the power of the cloud right there. No one player's experience is the same as the next. It's heavily dependent on your internet connection. But mine is pretty solid, so I have no idea just how good it's gotta be to work properly. This has been a big problem ever since Stadia's launch. Clip! Stadia depends on your internet connection being consistent and solid and fast enough to work all the time. There are only a privileged few who can claim such stability, and even with all the internet connections I have access to, that's still not a reality for me.
Maybe I might do an internet connection speed test for you guys at some point. I don't know. I'll probably post what my speed is. Don't think you guys care, but it'd be pretty interesting to see, I guess.
Connection strength and speed are an obstacle that Stadia has no solution for. Even if they personally upgrade every city on the planet to fiber internet, even if Mr. Google himself comes to your front door and says, "Hey there, campers, my name is Mr. Google. I will give you the fastest, freest internet for free because I am Mr. Google and that's who I am. Mr. Google giving you internet for free because that's what I do." there is a chance it still won't work. So all the millions of people on the planet who live with iffy internet have to make the same realization about Stadia that I made about skinny jeans in high school. It probably doesn't work for you.
Instead of a console or a PC, you're using Google's data center as the platform. We handled the intense gameplay process.
We're not going to talk about my skinny jean days. We're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that. Ugh. They look so bad now. I just want, give me some boot cuts, or give me just some regular fit Wranglers. I don't care. I will burn skinny jeans.
And graphics, so there's no console required to play your favorite games. That's what Stadia is all about, the games.
Heck, I'm sold. Who doesn't want to play games right now at their fingertips instantly? If Stadia had done its job right, then gamers should be jumping to streaming and completely avoiding those fancy new PS5s and Xboxes.
Yeah, nah. They went through the fucking roof.
Looks like people are still more than willing to buy those expensive
I was still more than willing to spend $700 on a PlayStation 5 than I was in the alternative gaming platform at the time. So, yeah, I'll spend an absurd amount of money to get something that I might like better than the competition.
Video game consoles. Who knew?
And you won't have to buy any expensive hardware to play the latest and greatest games.
Just because you don't need to buy the hardware doesn't mean you don't still want to. But what would compel us to still spend hundreds of dollars on a box instead of using Stadia seemingly for free?
And start playing for free.
Well, the answer is the most important element of any game platform. The games. Isn't that right, Phil?
That's what Stadia is all about, the games.
See, even Phil agrees with me. The consoles have games we want to play. We're not buying them for nothing. 1 year in, Stadia is struggling to release exclusive content and padding out their library with previously released games going as far back as 2016. Now look, I don't know if it's because of bad management on Stadia's end or if it's a problem on their development side, but Stadia has failed hard on providing the one thing people want from a game platform: a strong library of games. It's like if a fast food restaurant advertised that they had the fastest customer service and the cleanest tables. But when you go to the restaurant, they've got nothing you want to eat. And what they do have, other restaurants have been serving for years already. You have to give people variety. You need to give people something new and unique. This is where first-party exclusives come in, the signature menu item of video game consoles. Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft all have platform-exclusive titles that keep fans coming back generation after generation. What are Stadia's exclusives, though? Well, they still have Guilt and, a few timed exclusives, and I think Splash Damage is working with them on an exclusive game, but games like Get Packed and Crata aren't exactly Legend of Zelda and Spider-Man, and all of Stadia's exclusives are third-party developed. Stadia hasn't created any in-house developed titles themselves. Instead, they ended up relying on third-party games like Doom and Elder Scrolls Online. You know, games that Microsoft just recently purchased. So let's see how long those games last on Stadia. Spoiler, not very long.
With Stadia, your things, yes, the things you already own, are now reborn as unstoppable gaming machines. Ready to play the biggest AAA face melters in all their glory.
Another laughable piece of Stadia.
Yeah, you're not playing Cyberpunk. You're not playing Cyberpunk. Stop lying. Quit your fucking lying. You are not running fucking Cyberpunk on a Stadia. That game is hard to run on a PS4, let alone a Stadia. I mean, my system handles it perfectly fine at 100 or maybe 90 frames a second. I don't know. I gotta go test it again at some point. I've changed some settings around. Maybe it'll work better. Maybe it won't. I don't know. I'll figure that out. Anyway. We're going to continue on with this. They cannot run Cyberpunk.
Marketing is it has equal or even better graphics than competing platforms. They've been saying some version of this ever since GDC 2019.
10.7 teraflops is more powerful than the top two consoles of the previous generation combined.
They want us to believe that Stadia is a good alternative for playing demanding, graphically intense games without a console or PC. And it's really not.
Those things you already own can deliver Stadia's high-quality gaming experience.
Let's do the science, comparing the effects of Google Stadia versus Nintendo Switch. If Stadia's marketing is accurate, then there should be no compromises made between the two platforms. We'll play Doom 2016, a game that, although it might not be on Stadia for much longer, does indeed run on Stadia at high-quality graphics settings with 60 frames per second. This exact game is also available on Nintendo Switch. On Switch, Doom is definitely running at a much lower resolution, and at about half the frame rate than...
And I don't think it claimed to be running at a very high frame rate to begin with, because it's not very strong hardware. It just isn't, and they don't claim for it to be. Teraflops, pretty sure it flops on everything. Yeah, you wouldn't be wrong in assuming that. That's for fucking sure. That they were just, like I said, universally bad at everything. And they lied. Like, it wouldn't have been so bad if they didn't fucking lie about everything. I mean, yeah, it's okay, I was gonna say it's competent, but it's not a competent gaming system at all. It's just bad.
Stadia. So Stadia has a massive advantage right away. But with Switch, there is no delay in the controls and no issues regardless of where I run this, because I don't need to be online to make it work. Switch is consistently consistent. If you want the Doom, you get the Doom. But on Stadia, you're on Stadia. Yes, I'm sure Stadia's data center is running the game the best it can, but I wouldn't know. In my experience, I got tons of frame drops and delayed inputs simply because my connection was always different wherever I was. It seemed to work more at home than on the go, but even with the best connection I could buy, it still suffers from slightly slower inputs, and with a game like Doom, that's no fun. And if you're brave enough to try and play it on a phone, good luck.
Those things you already own can deliver Stadia's high-quality gaming experience.
In my opinion, streaming this game to a phone makes it unplayable. The input lag is awful, and depending on your connection, the sound and visuals will constantly stutter. Also, it's way less convenient than playing on...
Like, I'm seeing his input lag. It's so bad. Why is it so bad? Like, okay, I've seen input lag. I've had to deal with it before. I was dealing with it when I did my... Okay, I've deleted these videos, but there was a time when I played Cyberpunk, and the only reason I deleted these was because I wasn't going to continue on with that go through, because it was just bad. It was bad. It was very, very bad, and I couldn't focus because the input lag was so prominent. I couldn't land hits. It made me look like my shots were fucking horrible. Anyway, I deleted those videos and I'm playing it now. But I've played with input lag and it's so hard to do. It makes you not enjoy the game because you can't play as good as you know you are. Like, I'm good at Cyberpunk. So me being limited in the way I was it was terrible. Bad experience for me, bad experience for the viewers, bad experience for everything.
Switch. To play Doom and most other games on Stadia properly, you would need to carry around a full gamepad. I know Stadia on phones has touch controls now, but come on, who plays Doom 2016 with a touchscreen? This is a heavily skill-based, twitchy first-person shooter, requiring crazy amounts of inputs. I don't want to feel like I'm playing a heated match of Finger Twister on my phone. It's a mess. So far, it seems like the drastically underpowered portable
Also, I saw some reports, and I'm not liking this at all, but it's been reported that the new PlayStation controllers are going to have touchpad buttons. Like, it's just going to be like all of it's going to be a touchpad. Everything from the analog sticks to the actual like face buttons, they're all going to be touchpads. I'm like, why would you do that? Half of it is tactile feedback. You're touching and you want to feel a click to make sure you're doing it. How are you going to do that with a touch screen? You can't. I'm not saying that they are going to do this. That might have just been a leak that was inaccurate. But if they do that, that is going to be the biggest mistake they will ever fucking make. It'll be very bad for more than a few reasons, including but not limited to battery life, tactile feedback, gamer feedback. Because of the lack of tactile feedback, the haptics will be fine, but you need a clicky button. That's just... What do you mean? It's half of it is tactile feedback. That's what I'm going to say.
Console is winning. So let's do the experiment again with a much less power-hungry game, like Doom 64. Keep it in the Doom family. Where you think this would give Stadia an advantage, it actually works out worse for the streaming platform.
Really?
The visual quality between Switch and Stadia are now basically identical, but Stadia still suffers from all of the same problems. You get bogged down with the lag and frame drops that simply aren't an issue on Switch. And on top of everything, you're basically wasting your data streaming the game on Stadia. Get this, depending on what settings you're using, streaming this game for 1 hour can take from 4.5 to 20 gigs of data.
What?
You know how much data it takes to download the game to a Switch? 161 megabytes. That's 3.5% of what you need on Stadia in the first hour alone. That's freaking crazy. And by the way, current consoles like the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S are now hitting 120 frames per second. That's twice the frame rate of what Stadia is currently pushing. So now, console games feel even quicker and more responsive than they did a year ago.
Stadia is not constrained by the limitation of traditional console systems.
Stadia has failed at proving it has any real value compared to its console overlords. It feels like it's what you'd use when you literally have no other choice. It's the gas station hot dog of video games. Yeah.
It's the bargain bin of game consoles.
You might be hungry, but you'd take almost anything else to avoid that sour and furry aftertaste.
And it's all streaming straight to your devices, so you'll never have to install, download, or update your games ever.
Gameplay without the waiting. They've been trying to use this argument to sell Stadia to us since it launched. Stadia seems to think I'm really fed up with having to install my video games. They've been telling us for a year now that we've been tormented, waiting for endless downloads and game updates. With Stadia, I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. It's instant gaming.
Yeah, instant.
Kinda. Sure, sometimes on consoles, you have to wait for a game file to install, but it's really not the hardship that Stadia makes it out to be. And gameplay being delayed by updates isn't even as big of a problem anymore because, well, most of the mainstream consoles have a standby mode. And you know how that works? When it's on standby, your games update while you're away from the console. It's pretty cool. Also, it's not like Stadia games just don't have updates. Of course they do. Stadia takes care of all the updates in the background, so your game is always up to date. Except that sometimes it's not. Earlier this year, the developers of Football Manager 2020 were having difficulty getting Stadia to update their version of the game with the latest patch. Fans were very upset that they had to wait weeks for a patch that other players on other platforms already had access to. Stadia, you had one job to do. Updates don't just magically get applied to games instantly. Someone has to click the button. And if you're not gonna do it, Stadia, then who will?
If you want to build up a collection of great games, Stadia Pro is for you.
What's Stadia Pro? Well, it's a subscription plan where you pay $9.99 per month. They toss you a handful of games every so often instead of offering a better Netflix-like service that grants you an instant library. It's dumb. But dumber is that unless you pay that fee, Stadia streaming quality is purposely lowered. Even though you bought a game at full price, you still need to pay per month to get the game to look good. It's like paying for a ticket to see a movie, and when you sit down in the theater,
well, the paying for the game is not really the fucking issue. The issue is that you're paying for the games, but you're not getting very much out of it.
the image is out of focus. So you complain, and they tell you you're not a pro member. You'll need to pay $10 and then we'll fix it for you. You're being ripped off. You know that?
Ripped off.
Those things you already own can deliver Stadia's high-quality gaming experience.
Let's take a look at that high-quality gaming experience. A year ago in our worst console launch ever video, we compared Destiny 2 on Stadia Pro to it running on a gaming PC. Putting the two versions of the game side by side, we saw a huge drop
It looks like it also flickers
in graphic quality in Stadia compared to PC. And in the past year, nothing has changed. And it's not just big demanding titles that have issues. We played Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, a game people are probably dismissing altogether because they would assume it would just obviously be running better on Stadia, right? But compared against the Xbox One X release, the graphics and textures are noticeably lower. Look at the rocks in the background here. It's like someone sneezed all over them. You don't even need a fancy One X to see the benefits. Power Rangers on Xbox One S also has way higher quality textures than on Stadia Pro. That core hardware is...
Look at the skull in the background too, while we're talking about like details on textures. This looks so bad. Like it's everywhere. Now I'm noticing all of it. It's just bad everywhere.
7 years old. On Stadia, the writing on this umbrella is clear as mud. You can't read it. Look at the same umbrella on Xbox One S. Can you read it now?
Yeah,
10.7 teraflops is more powerful than the top two consoles of the previous generation combined.
Yeah, okay.
Even if Stadia magically becomes 4 times more powerful than the latest consoles like PS5 and Xbox Series X,
where was the power being used? What was where was the power being thrust? Where were you putting all of this power? Because you weren't putting it into the connection, or into the you weren't putting it into tactile. You weren't putting it into anything that would be meaningful. Where was the power, Phil? Where was the power, you human thumb?
Does it matter? The internet issues we've demonstrated will still not be resolved. Pump all the super duper graphics through a compressed video stream and the delayed inputs and drop in quality will always be noticeable.
Stadia has games for everyone, and that library is always growing.
Here is the main course in the banquet of Stadia's problems. Your game library on their platform is not secure. Your access to your games is dependent on Stadia being successful in keeping their servers up. Why is this a concern, you might ask? Well, when Stadia sells you a game, you pay a one-time fee for the game and then have endless access to all that expensive networking and hardware that Google is running. Physical consoles, on the other hand, have a special superpower. People pay for them. So the cost of the hardware to the console manufacturer...
Listen, like I said, you get what you pay for when you're working with technology. If you pay a super low price, you're not going to get very competent hardware. Whereas if you pay for a PlayStation, you're going to get PlayStation quality. If you pay for a computer, you're going to get a computer quality. It's all behind subscription. Pay them $10 and you get slightly better everything from connection and frames. No, this would not work because it's cloud-based. Like back in this day, cloud-based was not where it needs to be. It's not where it needed to be. Like they were in different chapters of different series of books.
Is offset a bit, but Stadia carries the cost of all those server blades on their own. It's like if you paid an incredibly small price for an all-you-can-eat buffet, but it never ends, essentially using Google's data center with no limit for free. Sounds cool until you realize that someone is gonna have to pay, and if they go offline, all of your games go with it. And this is in direct competition against companies like GOG.com, where you can download any game you want DRM free and keep it on your computer. Even if GOG.com were to go offline tomorrow, you can still play all of your games. A lot of people argue that Google has so much money that it doesn't matter. They'll just keep paying for Stadia no matter what, because they're just cool like that. We're not even seeing Google invest enough into Stadia right now, and it's only a year old. The biggest example to date is the new Chromecast with Google TV. Everyone who is paying attention to Stadia expected that a new Chromecast would support Stadia at launch. But no, Google announced we would have to wait until the first half of 2021 for official Stadia support on their new Chromecast. That is just insane to me. How can you not internally support your own projects? Not to mention that the existing Android TVs that are already out there don't have official support for Stadia, and Google has not offered a timeline for when that will happen.
Those things you already own can deliver Stadia's high-quality gaming experience.
If that's true, then get it working on the screen in my kitchen. You heard me, the Google Nest Hubs. It's a Google device. It has a screen, so get it done. Because right now, when I ask my Google Nest Hub to run Stadia, it does this. Oh, great kazoo, open Stadia.
Sorry, I don't know how to help with that. Here are other things you can try.
Okay, can you tell me what a shoe tastes like?
Sorry, I don't know how to... Yoshihide Sugar is the Prime Minister of Xanadu.
They have all the resources, but...
Yoshihide...
Okay, can you tell me what a shoe tastes like?
Sorry, I don't know how to... Yoshihide Sugar is the Prime Minister of Xanadu.
They have all the resources, but they don't seem to know how to use them. If you need to be reminded of what it looks like when a company throws unlimited money at a platform, but knows what they're doing, look at Xbox. They made major game studio purchases like Obsidian and Double Fine. They were buying up everyone and giving the developers blank checks to make whatever they wanted for the Xbox ecosystem. Then, in September 2020, they bought ZeniMax Media, the parent company that owns Bethesda, id Software, and several other studios. These purchases are calculated and have definitely had an impact with gamers. They went to the parent company of Bethesda and said, "How much for everything?" And then they got Elder Scrolls, they got Fallout, they got Doom, and so much more. These are big franchises with brand name appeal. So what has Stadia done? Well,
I have put easily over 1,500 hours into Skyrim alone. Like, I put so much time over so many different platforms into that game ever since I discovered it in 2013. That was my game.
Typhoon Studio. That's it. They bought one studio, and that one game that one studio has released is available on freaking Xbox Game Pass and not Stadia. How does that make any sense? They've apparently made no other acquisitions to try and jumpstart their struggling exclusive game library. I don't know about you folks, but it doesn't look to me like they're willing to just dump unlimited money into Stadia. The only question now is, how much longer does Stadia have?
Simply put, Stadia is a gaming service by Google.
And there's a new threat to Stadia's survival: competition in video game streaming. Because the cloud gaming marketplace is fuller now than ever before. PlayStation still offers streaming to console or PC with PlayStation Now, a monthly pay service that includes a massive library of games. You have Nvidia's GeForce Now, which allows you to stream the games you already own on Steam straight to your PC or other compatible devices. Amazon announced Luna, which is currently in early access and operates just like Stadia, but with Netflix library like Access. And how could I forget Xbox and their xCloud gaming service that is bundled into Game Pass Ultimate. Their service does everything from streaming tons of games at a fixed cost per month to allowing you to download them across multiple platforms and devices and play them off local hardware. If I was laying down bets, xCloud would get all of my coin, because right now they have over 10 million Xbox Game Pass subscribers. That's 10 million paying customers that are just one upgrade away from Game Pass Ultimate and xCloud. As best as anyone can
This didn't age well, though. That's the thing.
tell, the Stadia mobile app, one of only 2 ways to manage your Stadia experience, has been downloaded around 1 million times. That's 10 times less. And we don't know if that means that all 1 million downloads are paying customers. This isn't proof on its own that Xbox is winning or anything, but it's not a great statistic for Stadia. But don't count out any of Stadia's competitors. They all have huge, obvious advantages over Stadia, whether it be price, features, or most important of all,
the games.
That's right, Phil, the games. The library that you want to play. Oh, look! Facebook announced that they're getting into game streaming as well.
Man.
Can you see how it's starting to get just a little crowded in here? Stadia had its chance to be the one out in front defining what modern cloud-based gaming could be. Stadia was full of exciting possibilities.
Even
though they weren't the first to try a streaming game platform, they were the first to try it with the power of a company like Google behind them. Stadia was dripping with potential, but that potential has been squandered. There will be a winner in the race for cloud gaming dominance, my friends, but all Stadia can hope for now is to not be dead last.
What does this question even mean? Stadia!
Yeah, we're gonna cut it there. Yeah, the Stadia was bad. It is bad, and it will always be bad because the company that was trying to pitch it is also very horrible at everything but being a search engine, and even then it can't even do that right. They've chased me away from anything Google related, but anyway, I think that's going to be it for this episode. We have looked at the downfall of another game console that was pitched by a company that just doesn't know when to stop. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Tune into my lives every Friday, as I do them every Friday. More or less. I don't think I've missed one unintentionally. And when I have, I've told you about it. And I'm also affiliated with Poggers. So go to poggers.shop and get whatever you want from the store. Use code Raven12 and you get 10% off of anything. I mean, that's the deal. That works out for everybody. I get a kickback, you get the discount. Everybody wins. Thank you guys so much for watching, and bye-bye.